I remember the days when I was a young, naive little gremlin, still believing in things like the tooth fairy and the boogeyman and chocolate milk coming from brown cows, which, by the way, according to a survey conducted by the US Dairy Innovation Center, about 7% of Americans still believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows, which comes out to about 16.4 million Americans believing that. Of course, take that information with a grain of salt. I don't know how that data was collected, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if it's accurate. Go on the platform formerly known as Twitter for more than 5 minutes, and you'll realize that we have truly entered the stupid dimension. We are all citizens of Doofusville, and we're only getting more and more new neighbors coming in here. But what's causing all of this? It's like the Space Jam basketballs out there sapping away all of our intelligence. There's an idiot virus spreading and it's infecting the minds of so many. Where's it coming from? I'll tell you, god damn it. It's the darn internet, the cyberspace. They tried to warn us about Y2K, but we didn't listen. While it may not have been the end of the world, it was the end of all rational thought. What I want to talk about today is a story involving an 11-year-old who followed a YouTube fake kidnapping challenge prank and got herself arrested. And this is a very serious offense. It's a fucking felony that this child believed was just a good, fun prank because they watched it on YouTube. So I want to talk about that story and then expand the scope a little bit bigger to internet trends and internet content genres that are legitimately just poisoning people's minds and setting them up for failure for the rest of their life. Since kids have unfiltered access to the internet because most parents don't want to do their job of being a parent anymore, they just put that responsibility on the internet to raise their kids. The onus of raising a child is now on the internet to make sure that it's perfectly curated so a kid can just endlessly scroll through the iPad while their parents do something else and they expect the kid to grow up to be some successful, well-adjusted person, which I don't think is going to be the case. Which is just a sad situation all around. I don't even blame the kids. It's not their fault that their parents are absent and just sitting them in front of a screen for hours upon hours every day. But anyway, let me go ahead and get into the actual story here, and then we'll dive in a bit more.
The 11-year-old girl in this police body cam video is in a whole lot of trouble. She made a fake phone call to 911 saying her friend had been kidnapped. She later told cops she thought it would be funny. Well, they didn't laugh, admonishing her to never do this again.
The classic fake kidnapping prank. I can't believe the cops weren't laughing. Humorless, I tell you. Soulless, in fact. So, the fake kidnapping prank is a timeless classic on the internet. YouTube pranksters have been letting that one rip for many years now. For those that don't know, if the name wasn't a dead giveaway, you fake a kidnapping. Now, what a lot of kids don't realize is those pranksters that are doing that are faking the fake kidnapping. Everyone's usually in on it. The whole prank is fake. Most pranks online on TikTok and YouTube are faked for views, but children don't know that. Kids will believe pretty much anything they see or are told by someone that's older than them. You know, like St. Nicholas wiggling his ass down the chimney to deliver presents, you know? Like, kids aren't thinking that hard about what they're consuming online. So when they see a prank like that, they think that it's real and just like a good ha-ha, you know, side-splitting comedy thing, so this 11-year-old saw it and thought it would be a fun prank to do on their own.
She's accused of faking a kidnapping.
I'm not gonna do this again. She thought it was funny and it was a joke and she couldn't get in trouble for it.
Police say the girl texted 911 to say that her friend had been abducted by a stranger in a white van.
Obviously, upon receiving texts about a kidnapping, the department responded, and it was all a complete fabrication. It was all a fib, a lie, a ruse. Which is really detrimental to like the entire community there because it's wasting valuable resources from the department. Should an actual emergency come through and they already have like fucking 20 patrol cars deep looking for this kidnapping victim that doesn't exist, you've got yourself a problem. Now people that are in desperate need of help might not get it because the department's already occupied taking care of this fake situation. It's something you just don't fuck with, really.
The girl who gave a fake name said she was following the van on the interstate in another vehicle. For the next 30 minutes, she gave updates on the supposed kidnapping. He is tying her up, went one text. He's armed with a gun, said another. Hurry up, please.
You can talk to your parents.
They say she fessed up. She stated that she got the idea to prank 911 through a YouTube challenge and thought it would be funny.
So she was texting the officers with a play-by-play like she was John Madden here, going through the situation on like this high-speed pursuit, none of which was real, of course. And then when the officers tracked down the phone number that put in all of these texts, that's when they realized that it was all just a complete fucking lie. And the 11-year-old fessed up to the crime and said that she got the idea from a YouTube challenge. I've said for years, like a broken record, how awful most pranksters online are. Not just in terms of the content being turbo shit, but also just because it really will raise a generation of kids that think that that's acceptable and good and okay. Like, for a little while, I was also naive, thinking like, okay, maybe this isn't going to be something that people will try and emulate. There was a period of time where I thought to myself that, you know, most people have to know these pranks are fake, so they're probably not going to bother doing this unless they're trying to be an internet douchebag as well. But I've really changed my stance on that thanks to TikTok proving me wrong so often, where pranksters that are faking pranks or these trends that go viral really do have, like, young people following them and either hurting someone or getting themselves hurt or just doing really degenerate, awful things. It's become very clear that the internet content that children are consuming does have a very big impact on how they view the world and reality and what they find to be acceptable and okay, and just it does have a real effect on the direction that they might take in life, especially now with the obsession for attention. Everyone is vying for internet clout. And a lot of kids growing up want to be YouTubers. That's like one of the main dream jobs that children want. And when they see prank channels getting huge views, they will try and emulate it and have tried to emulate it, and a lot of them never realizing that it's fake. So there's been many cases of them getting themselves or someone else hurt by trying to follow along with their favorite prank channels that they watched growing up. It's just an awful fucking cycle. I understand every internet prankster isn't a terrible person doing horrible things. I know this isn't every internet prankster, but you are eating some cinnamon toast cope if you don't think it's the majority of them. The vast majority of internet pranksters are like the orb of confusion from SpongeBob. When SpongeBob flips that bitch on and it just makes everyone around them dumber, that's most internet pranksters. Just this presence that makes everyone dumber for just even being exposed to it.
Her father was really upset.
You're going to take this as a lesson at 11 years old that if you do something stupid in the future, you're going to enjoy those cuffs.
I'm not going to do this again.
Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood.
We had a massive police response. What happens if we crash into somebody and somebody loses their life?
The dad seems to really understand the gravity of the situation. He's not making any excuses for the behavior, at least not in this very short clip here. But he is right. This will be a lesson. And actually, I've mentioned this on stream before. This is a lesson I also learned when I was young, but not because of any prankster or any challenge that I followed when I was a kid. There was a point where we went to a pool for a field trip and there was a payphone nearby and we were just doing like fake calls to our friends and saying silly things. It was all make-believe. But what I didn't realize is 911's free on a payphone, so I dialed 911 and immediately started going into like silly things and making claims about the pool being like haunted or on fire or something. And they did show up. And boy, let me tell you, I felt fucking horrible. That was... My jaw has never hit the floor harder than when the police actually showed up with a fire truck. That was a huge lesson to me. I didn't mean to dial a false report, and I certainly would have never done that on purpose or as some kind of joke. I was dumb and had no idea that 911 was a free call. Point is, the dad is right. This will serve as an invaluable lesson, I imagine, and hopefully she'll never do any kind of shit like this again, and hopefully anyone else that sees this story will realize that it's just completely unacceptable and that pranks shouldn't just be, you know, taken at face value and followed along with at home.
The child was charged with making a false police report, which is a felony, and misuse of 911. That's a misdemeanor.
So it does actually sound like they are charging her with a felony and misdemeanor for this situation here. So this is a very big deal. That's a lot of trouble to get in over a YouTube challenge. Now, interestingly enough, this isn't the only fake kidnapping that happened even just over the last 2 weeks. A massive case of a fake kidnapping. I talked about it on stream, but I haven't talked about it in a video. I was waiting for like the whole thing to kind of wrap up, but I'll just go ahead and mention it here because it's very much in line with what happened with this. There's a woman named Carly Russell who led police on a wild goose chase about a kidnapping that never happened. She stated that she saw a toddler on like the side of the interstate and then like pulled over to try and, help save the toddler, and then ended up getting kidnapped for a couple days. And it turned out to be all just complete baloney, just absolute horseradish. Nothing about it was true. She even admitted it was all a lie, but she hasn't been charged yet. So I'm wondering when those charges are going to come, especially now since the precedent is being set that any kind of like false reports, especially something that requires a massive department response like a fucking kidnapping, is going to be a, no punches pulled kind of situation. Like they're charging the 11-year-old here, so I imagine she's also going to get charges as well. It's just a matter of time. But this is just a fucking crazy situation we're in, where so often now these YouTube challenges and pranks and trends are getting people hurt, killed, or ruining their lives. It's fucking sad. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. That's it. See ya.